get started in our team. Great to have you all on this call today, and thanks for attending this month's Dev webinar. If you've been with us before, welcome back. If it's your first time, also welcome. But wanted to, of course, introduce today's topic and what we're going to talk through today. So today, what we'll be talking about is sprint management with Monday Dev. So in terms of Monday Dev, what we want to make sure is we want to make sure that we enable your product development teams to work together. In our experience, the road from concept or an idea to launch involves multiple handovers between teams, resulting in misalignment and lost visibility. So no matter which step of the process you look after, or if you manage them all, end-to-end visibility, alignment, and collaboration is the key to success. Now, in terms of how we achieve that, in today's webinar, we'll show you how we at Monday manage sprint planning across the board for organizations. Now, before we properly get started, I, of course, wanted to introduce you to the ones on the Monday end over here. I myself, my name is Dylan. I've been with Monday for 2 years now, and I have a focus on both new business and dev across APAC. I'd also like to introduce Min to this call. Min, would you like to introduce yourself, mate?
Thanks, Dylan. Hi, everyone. My name's Min. I'm a scale customer success manager here at monday.com. Been with the business for about 2.5 years and recently transitioned into a product specialist role as well. So we're overseeing our Monday Dev, CRM, and IT services product.
Awesome. So in terms of an agenda today and what the next 30 minutes looks like on our end, what we're going to take you through is a quick introduction to Monday Dev. We'll then address sprint management with Monday Dev, and then I'll hand over to Min, who will take us through a demonstration of sprint planning on the Monday platform. If you do have any questions during today's call, please feel free to pop them in the questions in the Zoom chat. We'll aim to have question time right at the end for about 5 minutes. Awesome. So in terms of a little bit of a company overview, for those that don't know the background of Monday, just to give you a little bit of a quick insight, Monday was launched in 2014 as a work management platform originally, helping teams to collaborate, streamline workflows, and manage projects. In 2021, we went public and were listed in NASDAQ. And in 2022, we actually launched our first couple of products built on top of the platform, and hence started our journey of being a multi-products company, Dev being one of those. In terms of the team breakdown, we're a team of more than 1,500 globally, with almost 100 in Australia spread across Sydney and Melbourne. And it goes without saying, internally, we use Monday company-wide all day, every day. And it's been a great hypergrowth journey since 2014, and this graph is a little bit of a testimony to that as well. It definitely hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. Building and scaling such a large team at the same time comes with its own set of challenges. And in terms of as we're building and scaling, our collaboration between R&D and CRO functions was getting ineffective. Focusing on the right things at the right time was proving challenging, and we needed higher visibility of the roadmap and releases across the entire organization, all while making sure we can achieve our goals and stay true to our purpose. To paint a little bit of the picture for you in terms of our Monday Dev journey, we do have more than 45 Scrum teams working on different domains and products in 3 different regions. Each of these Scrum teams is an independent unit consisting of product, designers, and developers, all working together on the same goals. In addition to that, we have over 800 plus client-facing teams, which are spread across the globe. Sales, support, and customer success teams are all working directly with our clients and have great knowledge of our products. We also have enablement, marketing, and knowledge-based teams working on our products from different aspects, and we need to make sure that they're being updated on a regular basis as well. On the customer end, we release more than 30 features a month, which is quite a lot. Each feature is in a various stage of our gradual release process. Not just our customers, but it's crucial that every single employee from our client-facing, marketing, and enablement teams will know about these feature releases as well. In terms of as we're scaling and building, this requires making sure that we can effectively meet the delivery under tight deadlines. We're able to collect and prioritize requests for the backlog. We can manage cross-domain dependencies and continuously change and adapt to changing market needs and company focus. So in terms of the Monday Dev story and how it was built organically from Monday, and it's what makes it so unique. Monday Dev is definitely a product that was initiated bottoms up from our very own dev team, flagging their missing features and capabilities from some of the existing tools out there, such as the freedom and flexibility for the dev team to operate, but also having the core connection between the building side, as we call them, product, dev, design, to the customer-facing team to line everyone on the roadmap, all the way up to the company's leadership. And what can your team actually do with Monday Dev? So we can integrate your existing dev tools. We can use that integration center, marketplace, and open API to create a one-stop shop. We can ideate and conduct product discovery. We can establish your key roadmap, manage team sprints and bugs, and release and collect all of your feedback as well, all in the space of one place. We're all somewhat familiar with the standard software development lifecycle. It starts with product, collecting requirements and doing the product discovery. Then they do the product planning and establish a roadmap. When it comes to execution, it's now up to the developers to deliver what was committed. Developers can work in different methodologies. In our company, it's Scrum. Then it's time to release everything the devs and product teams have worked on. So if you were in our last webinar, you would have seen how we connect all of these teams together. In today's webinar, we'll have a focus on the actual execution. And that leads us to sprint management. If we're looking at the construct of sprint management, it all revolves around a sprint. Now, if you ask, what is a sprint? In Agile, sprints are much shorter blocks of development. The goal is to get new functionality and improvements into customers' hands as quickly as possible. Sprint lengths vary by organization, but often last less than 1 month. And if something is too large for a single sprint, it's broken down into smaller components and spread across more than one. In terms of a typical sprint cycle, starts with a sprint planning meeting where team members will sit together and discuss the prioritized tasks of the particular sprint. The second activity is a daily stand-up meeting. Typically, the day of every team member and the Scrum Master starts with a meeting where everyone gets updated on the progress of the previous day and the plans for that day. Agile methodologies really focus on ensuring value and quality for the customers. The work completed during each sprint is always reviewed with all the project stakeholders and the feedback is taken on board. Of course, then, the final activity of any sprint is the retrospective phase, where all participants reflect on their work and draw lessons from it for the future. And why sprints? So what we're seeing is that now sprints are becoming a de facto methodology in product development, and the reason for sprints are some of the following. We're bringing the complex and making it simple. By dividing the entire project into a series of smaller tasks, you can ensure that the entire focus of your project team is on solving the project at hand. We like to look at an MVP approach. We want faster and frequent feedback loops. So ensuring teams are consistently producing higher quality work faster and more frequently, also giving them more flexibility to adapt to change, but also catching any potential issues faster. We want an increase in transparency and collaboration. Agile teams are required to share all the information and every team member works while having the same vision of the final deliverable in mind. Since everyone's on the same page, the changes of the project going sideways get drastically reduced and improves visibility, transparency in projects. And then we, of course, have the flexibility and adapt to change. Shorter sprints allow Agile teams to change according to the situation and the demands of the customer. The rapid nature of modern businesses requires project teams to pivot quickly, and completing short-term goals can help them complete that. So this is the typical process that we take for sprint management on Monday Dev. We've got our backlog grooming and refinement. So once the product roadmap is established, you begin breaking down the features into manageable tasks, which are then prioritized against competing tasks like bugs and enhancements. You've got your sprint planning, so you set sprint goals, understand team's capacity based on availability, leaves, holidays, etc. Estimate prioritized tasks and slot them into your sprint timeline. Then we, of course, have the task execution. So then the sprint is started. The team gets assigned tasks and they start working on it. Then you have daily stand-ups to review progress, identify bottlenecks, and reassign tasks as needed. We've then got things like our sprint review. So once the sprint ends, timeline is achieved, and you take stock of what was completed, what is still pending, and measure it against your sprint goals. During the same time, you give a live demonstration of work completed to users and stakeholders. Then, of course, we have our retrospectives. So this is that powerful tool to gain feedback and improve on a continuous basis. Now it's time to see it in action, and I'd love to hand it over to Min to show us a demonstration.
Amazing. Thanks, Dylan. Cool. So I get to do the fun part of this webinar today. So what we'll do is I'll run you through the actual execution piece on our Monday Dev product, and I'll be focusing on our tasks board to start things off. So before we kick things up, I wanted just to kind of give you a bit of an idea in terms of this board layout, just so that it makes sense when we walk through the actual execution piece. As you'll notice at the moment, our groupings that we have on the boards is split into the sprints that we've got. So we've got sprint 1, 2, and 3. And then we've also got a backlog group over here towards the end. When you open up your sprints, as you can see in each sprint groupings, we've got the relevant tasks or the deliverables that we're executing on labeled as the items. Towards the right-hand side of your sprint columns, we've got different data points that we have that we're using to track and identify the actual sprint information. So I'll just maybe cover some of the basics and then kind of move towards the right-hand side as well. So first things first, an owner column. So we know who owns this particular task or deliverable. We've got a status column to help us indicate whether or not this sprint's ready to start, it's in progress, it's stuck, or it's done. We've got a priority column over here as well to help us understand how critical, high, medium, low the priority is. We've got the task type and also different roles that we can assign to the task. The columns over here on the other side here is to help us estimate the story points, which is just using our Monday numbers column. But if you translate sprints, sorry, not sprints, your story points in a different way, maybe you measure it by effort in hours, you can also kind of customize that as well by using the different unit measurements. The great thing about Monday in this specific task board is that it's highly customizable. So what you're seeing right now is just kind of like a baseline, an idea on how it could be managed. But it's up to you in terms of how your team delivers and executes your sprints and your tasks. And you can use specific labelings, specific column types as well to ensure that you're working towards the way that your team works. So let's start off by doing the sprint planning aspect. How do we actually create a sprint and get the tasks inside? You would want to come over here to the top left corner next to new tasks, put in the drop-down menu, and then select new sprint. Once you select create new sprint, you can give it a new sprint name. So I'm going to call this sprint 4. I want to give this a timeline. So I'm just going to create a timeline here. And then I can also define a sprint goal. So maybe just to put something in as an example, achieve the big goal. Create sprint. So as soon as I create my sprint, it will put it at the very top of my board, just so I know that this is going to be my most current and active sprint. And what I could do from here is I could go and then look at my backlog tasks and items. And what I could do is click on these items, simply move them to my sprint 4. So then I'm bringing over the backlog of my tasks and deliverables. As you can see, the backlog's now empty. Got my sprint 4. I can then also add in additional tasks that I'm planning in my sprint. Go. And when I'm ready to start my sprint, I can then click on this icon over here on the right-hand side, so start the sprint. As soon as you click on that, you'll see, first of all, you've got an active sprint indicator over here on the left-hand side. And also, if I scroll to the right-hand side of my page, you can see that this active sprint box is auto-checked. So as I start to work through my sprint, I've also got things like a burn down chart that I can leverage. Essentially, this burn down chart is going to give me a predictive analysis in terms of my completion time based on the remaining story points or complete story points I have in my current sprint. So as I start to complete things off, update parts of my deliverables, my burn down chart as well would also update with me. And that's one of the best things at monday.com. It's a really easy way to get live reporting, and you can quite easily get that kind of predictive analysis across your tasks and sprints that you're managing. Another key thing I'd like to point out here is that when you do start the sprint and then you do add in additional tasks, this is what we will call typically a unplanned task. That will also be captured automatically in our tasks interface. So as you can see, as I've added task 16, this unplanned checkbox has now been ticked. And that's going to help us indicate later from a reporting perspective in terms of how many unplanned tasks in terms of story points I'll be adding in to our sprint cycles. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and maybe just update just a couple of other status labels over here for these tasks. And what I might do is, let's say I've come to the end of my sprint. I looked at this for the 2 weeks, and now it's time to complete this sprint. Once I complete on the complete icon, what will happen is any items that haven't been completed will automatically be moved to the backlog. So as you can see, we can move them to the backlog group. We can also choose to keep a copy of the current sprint as well for any references, and I'll click on complete. There we go. So now you can see that green icon's now disappeared, indicating that we have completed our sprint. We've still got the task copies in our sprint 4. And also now you can see the tasks that are now moved into our backlog group. Amazing. So that's essentially in terms of looking at how you can create your sprints, how we can use things like our burn down chart to get a predictive analysis of completion time, and then also looking at how we can complete our sprints and move items to the backlog area as well. The next area I'd like to walk you through now is our Monday board views. And this is where things really get quite interesting. I want to start off with a Kanban board view. I think Kanban is probably something that's quite commonly leveraged, especially in our dev and even PMO space. At the moment, nothing is going to show up because I've got a filter that's come up to show me anything that has an active sprint. So maybe if I just go back to my sprint board, let me just create just a new group of sprints, just so I can show you what that looks like in our Kanban. Put in a timeline. Here we go. Create sprint. Let's move those backlog items back into my sprint group. Amazing. Click on start, and let's now go to Kanban. So now as I have an active sprint, and because I'm using that particular filtering, now I can see those specific tasks populating in my Kanban view. The great thing about a Kanban view is it's really highly customizable. And what I mean by that is you can really choose and pick how you'd like to visualize your item cards, which are specifically your tasks, as you can see here on the left-hand side. So these are the tasks that, these are the task data points that I have created over here, which I can just simply click and drag into my task card view, which will then populate those specific data points that you have already defined. So you can really have that granularity, or you can have that high level visibility in the Kanban view. The next view I'd like to walk you through is our sprint planning view. So this is one of our monday.com's kind of dashboard views, where this will give you a better understanding and a breakdown in terms of what are your planned story points for upcoming sprints. You can also use this dashboard to do capacity planning, just to make sure you have the right capacity and resourcing available to complete the sprints. We can also have a look down into our breakdown of task types, breakdown of priority, and also a nice table view of our upcoming sprints. The one thing I love about our monday.com dashboard widgets is that they're all drillable. And so if I click over here and look into this critical priority count, I can quite simply see and isolate what that specific task is. Let's drill down as well. And also what you'll notice is if I update this priority, that's going to also auto update my widget as well. So it's a really nice and easy way to get visual reporting across your sprints, but also being able to kind of quite easily drill down, isolate the specific data points that you want to see, and have that auto updated as well. We've also got our daily stand-up board. So this is kind of like your rituals where you would have the daily stand-ups, have a look at what do we have on for the day. What are our planned sprint counts? What's our unplanned story points? What are our completed story points? Again, also implemented by a nice table view. And at the top with a progress bar as well, which is using our battery widget. Again, all of our widgets over here are customizable and drillable. So I can simply click to see what are the tasks that need to start. And by clicking on that, I can see what these two tasks are. Amazing. So that's kind of, I guess, a really quick overview in terms of sprint creation, completing it, getting reporting from the different sprint views. And what I'd like to also touch on is maybe looking at how do we get some cross-team dashboards. So this is looking at sprints from just one specific team. But if we had multiple teams, how do we get a bird's eye view in terms of that? So we can move and look into our cross-team dashboard, which is essentially a dashboard where I've connected multiple tasks and sprint boards to get a better overview of my teams. So as you can see over here, I've got a team one estimated versus actual sprints chart, which give me a breakdown of all the different sprints my team has undergone and looking at the actual story points from estimated and actual. I've also got the same kind of widget over here for my team two to give me that overview in terms of their sprints and their story points. We've also got a side-by-side comparison to look at our team one and team two sprint progress, along with other additional data points that will be relevant to my team. As mentioned before, these dashboards are just here to kind of give you some inspiration and ideas on how you can visualize your information, but also very easily customizable by adding in and creating your own specific views that's going to be relevant to your teams. Amazing. So I want to just take a pause there, because I know we're just almost coming out to time. So I want to just look at our chat box and see if we have any questions popping up. Alrighty, so I've got a couple coming in. I'm going to maybe just try to answer as many as I can before it reaches 2:30. So how do you calculate it? How do you calculate estimated versus actual story points? Okay, that's a great question. Let me bring up my screen again. So to calculate your estimated versus actual story points, we can use these two columns over here. So as you've already defined your estimated story points, and as your teams then provide an input on their actual story points, we've got a formula column over here, which is native to monday.com, which will give us that calculation automatically. It's a simple formula, which is just pretty much estimated minus actual to give us the remaining method. But the next question I've got here is there a way to capture sprint risks and report on it? Absolutely. So I guess when we're looking at capturing risk, there's probably multiple different ways you can do it in monday.com, just given how flexible and customizable the platform is. An idea that I would like to maybe use is something what's called using like a at-risk status label. So across your sprint boards, you could have a label where you can select that specific sprint at risk. And by doing so, maybe from a cross-team dashboard, I could add in a widget, maybe a chart, or maybe a table view. Let me go and get a table view. And isolate my data points to be specific to that sprint board, and also just show me anything that has a yes marked to the risks. So if I go into the settings of my table, I'm going to choose the boards that I want to see. So let me get rid of these. Oh. So I want to bring up my sprints board. And then in my table, I've got the sprint board selected. Amazing. And in the filtering, I want to see where the at risk is yes. And literally in a couple of clicks, I'm able to create a at risk sprint view. Again, this could be your own kind of standalone dashboard or widget that you have, or it could be in your kind of cross-team dashboard space. Again, it's just given the flexibility of how you like to view and provide your data sets to your team. I've got another question I'd like to maybe cover off. I've got time is, how do you capture dependencies between tasks? So that's a great question. So I want to come back to my task board over here. And on the right-hand side of my, if I come to the very right-hand side of my screen, I can add in what's called a dependency column. So I'm going to go here and click on more, look for dependencies, add to board. So essentially this dependencies column is going to give me the ability to then define what tasks are dependent on what. So to kind of build up the hierarchy, I would click on this task over here, task 12, and say task 12 is going to be dependent on task 11. Click on that. We can then say task 14 is going to be dependent on task 12. So just like that, you can quite easily build out your dependencies and create a kind of relationship between the tasks, where you can then also kind of use this to visualize it further. Amazing. So I know we're just coming out to time. I just maybe call out one more question. What is the best way to manage tasks that are coming in from multiple other boards into our backlog? So what is the best way to manage tasks that are coming in from multiple other boards into our backlog? So Jasmine, that kind of, I guess, question, in terms of how to manage that would be to maybe use something like automations to actually send that sprint task into a specific backlog board. It might be a bit hard to kind of build this out quickly, but if you had probably do this a couple of ways. Actually, no, you know what? Let me not do that. Let's say from my team 2's board, right? So let's say if I had these tasks that I want to send to the backlog for my team 1 tasks board, it would just simply be something like the backlog team 1 board. We can do something that says when status changes to send to backlog team 1, I could move the item into a different board, tasks, move the item, and also then choose the specific backlog group. So you can use the automations and kind of use that to kind of control where and how and when you like to move the items into specific groups.
Awesome, team. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. Those are the questions we've noted, so we'll endeavor to reach out to you, but really appreciate the time today, and hope to see you at our next dev webinar. Thanks, team. Have a great day.
Thanks, team.